This is the haircut you'll learn in this tutorial. The whole process is broken down step by step. I'm making my process as simple as possible for you to understand. I've added all these diagrams so I can explain to you exactly what to do and when to do it. So let's get started. I'm going to gown up my client and I'm starting with a big number, the number 4, 13 millimeters. And I'm just going to glide up. Now watch the blade here, okay? So I'm going in at the back of the head and I'm not following the shape of the skull. At the top, I'm going to glide off just around about this marker here. So up and away from the head. So we're not rounding over. It should get longer as you go up the head, as you glide away with the clipper. And this is doing a lot of the blending in work for you. So the number 4, it's quite forgiving. It's quite a long number. So any mistakes, you can kind of hide them. This blue line is where the ridge is on the head. This is the area of the head that sticks out the most. Sometimes we call it the occipital ridge, or on the sides, it's the parietal ridge, but that's not important. All you need to know is it's the area that sticks out the most. So when we reach that, we just glide off with the clipper, okay? Around about that line, you don't want to follow around onto the top of the head. So at the sides, just glide up. There's that line again, okay? Work up to there and glide off. You can see I'm using my comb as a little guide there. I'm not trapping the hair and pulling it down. I'm just gliding up towards the comb. When you're cleaning up this area on the side, don't have the clipper completely flat. Keep one side off the head, so where this red circle is, that's not touching. Next step. Okay, now we've got the number 2. This is 6 millimeters, and I'm just going up a little bit where that little marker was there. I don't want to go too high. This is really easy. Look at how I just kind of move up and curve my hand out. So it's like an up and away kind of stroke with the clipper. Up and away. Up and away. This is delicate. Don't go right up the head. You don't need to. All I want to do is make it taper away towards the bottom. That means it's going to be shorter towards the bottom. So here's a 2.5. We'll go up a little bit higher than where that first marker was. So I hope you enjoy these little diagrams and they're not too complex. I only put them on to help you understand a little bit better. So we've gone from the 2 to the 2.5, and now we'll just step up one more to the number 3. That's 10 millimeters. So again, without the diagram, it's just a little bit higher than we went with the 2.5. Really simple, really basic. You don't have to add this part to your haircut. It just gives it a slightly nicer finish. So with the little trimmer, don't go inside the hairline. So have a close look and you'll see where the hair grows and where it doesn't. And what we want to do is remove any hair that is sticking out beyond the hairline. This is me just using the depth of the comb on this area here. And then I'm going to trim around the hairline again. Now this is important. We don't want to make what you would call a mud guard. So don't go up inside the hairline. That's what's going to make it look like you've been in for some kind of plastic surgery. It's going to look terrible. Make sure you stay outside of the hairline, okay? Here's a straight line here, right? So imagine from the ear down to the nape of the neck and just visualize where that hairline might be. This is going to make it look super crispy. That's what you call it, crispy, when it has this sharp line look. You see how much that neatens it up already? And I don't think this has been overly complicated so far. I think this is something that you could do. I'll get all the fluff off the neck. And what I can do is I can actually use my comb here and just lift up, tease up this hair at the very bottom, and I'll just trim it down to the depth of the comb. Look at how neat all of a sudden it becomes. This is such a passable, such an easy haircut. It's probably about the most commercial, simple haircut you could imagine. Okay, I'll take some of this fluff down just a little bit here. You don't need to be as accurate as me because remember, this is a basic haircut, okay? Let's make that line there. We're going to come on to some scissor work in just a minute, and it is going to be also super simple, believe me. One of the things that scares people about scissor work is they don't know what to do, but I'm going to show you a really good methodology that I use. So let's just add some water simple water. We don't need to add anything else. And I'm going to separate this area here, okay, at the crown. So let's get the whole crown and we'll split the long hair from front to back. And then we have it all under control. So we've got this method. And if you're learning to cut hair with scissors, at the back of the head is a good place to start because your client's not looking at you. Okay, so imagine we want a continuation of the hair getting longer. This is a graduation up the head. So at the moment we have this weight line, but if we trim to my line that I made, you can see that it's now layered in this area. That's what we call it, layered. So let's take off some hair to give it a layered finish instead of just that line of weight, and when we drop it, it's not as heavy along that line. Now this isn't complete, this is what you would call rough, right? But that's okay, my fingers are straight up and down. It's okay to be a little bit rough here. I'll show you a way to refine it in just a second. So straight up the fingers, all the way around this back section here. I'll follow all the way around to where I parted the hair. This is taking so much bulk out already, and it's going to make the next step a little bit easier. Now, comment below if you feel like it's been easy so far, and let me know if it gets too hard for you. But I believe in you. I think you can do this. So this time, look, we had all these lines we cut. Now we can cut across the lines. This is what's going to really polish it. So I slide my scissor in, okay, pick up with the comb, and repeat. And I'm just working my way down. I'm taking a little bit of hair off. And this is at 90 degrees. I'm lifting the hair out. One of my channel members, Sarah Cloudsdale, recently asked me what angle I was lifting the hair out to. Well, it's basically directly back from that curve on the back of the head, but 90 degrees would be okay. So imagine just 90 degrees at a right angle. You could drop it down a little bit if you wanted to. Again, over here, working my way down. Remember, I took all that bulk off earlier, so it makes it so much easier for me to do this technique. This is about the hardest as it's going to get in this entire tutorial, so you can do this. This is a little bit of polishing. It really helps if you have a sharp scissor, okay? If you don't have a sharp scissor, it's quite difficult to scissor over comb. It bends the hair, it jams it. So anything that's bending the hair, yeah, it'll work, but it's going to be uncomfortable for the person who you're cutting. Okay, on top, let's make a super neat parting here. Okay, well, I want you to try and get your line as straight as possible. Now remember, not every hair type will let you comb it into a really neat parting like this. Sometimes it forces its way back, forwards, or whatever. This hair seems to be parting okay. Now the reason we're pulling this over is because I want to take all these sections from the front and lift them up. And we're going to start at the front and work our way backwards. So really easy again, okay? This is about the width of a comb. That's how much hair I have. I've cut down to the desired length. Now I did discuss that with my client. And I'm looking for the hair that I cut in that first section. I can see it there. That's the short hair. So I'll cut to that length again. And then step back a little bit, okay? So I've grabbed a lot of hair there. I would say too much, so I'm going to use the hook of the comb and just pull some out. Get rid of that. And then I can cut across. Now, I'm working my way back. I've grabbed the whole section and the next one, so I'll pull a little bit out from the front of the section with the hook. And there we go. I can see the length. Now I will keep continuing back like this. So far, so good. Let me know now again, is it too difficult or are you managing? By the way, I do also teach barbering on UDEMY, and I'll leave a link down below for where you can find my courses. But you can also join the channel as a member and access the masterclasses that way. So let's get all this combed out of the way now. And what I want to do is step to the left-hand side of the client's head. So we need to cut this. Now look at the springiness. It's a little bit out of control. See? Springing back on itself. So let's weigh it down with some water. We don't need clips. I don't need to clip anything out of the way here. I'm just using the weight of the water to section the hair. So let's pick up again to the left of center, and at the end of my fingers I can see the short hair from the middle. So each time that I pick up the hair, I'll pick it up to about that length. I've got my guide in the middle, and I just cut down to that length. Now this is pretty square. I'm lifting it up about 90 degrees. I'm going to blend in the side in just a moment, but I'll work my way back from here. If you're watching this to cut a head of hair, let me know whose head of hair you're going to cut. And also, if you want someone to cut your hair, share this video to them. Let them see it, because this is a great resource for them, especially if they're going to cut your hair. So let's address this weight line here. This is long hair. Now what's happening here is we've got long hair and short hair, and we need to join it all together, okay? So let's lift out this hair at the side. There we go. Look at that long hair. That's not the top hair or the side hair. It's the hair in between. So if we join it all together in these sections, now our whole haircut's starting to come together. It's really starting to turn into something. This is quite a fun bit. I call it cutting the corners off. It's the point where it all starts to turn into or get close to something that looks good. So I'll comb it back, and remember that method we used at the back of the head, the scissor over comb. Here you go again, scissor over comb. Again, the scissor over comb is probably the hardest part, if you were going to say there was a hard part of this. Okay, real quick. If you're watching this and you're just getting into cutting hair, you need a solid pair of scissors. And these are seriously a great place to start. They're made with a high quality Japanese steel, which basically means they stay sharp longer, and they give you really clean, easy cuts, no tugging or uneven lines. The blades have this special curved edge called a convex edge. So even if you're still learning your technique, it helps make your cuts smoother and more controlled. They are super beginner friendly. They also come with this nice leather zipper case, so you can keep them safe and in top shape when you're not using them. If you're learning to cut hair at home or thinking about going pro, these are a great investment to start with. The link's in the description if you want to check them out. Now back to the video. So we're wrapping up this area scissor over comb. It's quite delicate. We're only looking for rough ends to take off here, because we remove most of that bulk with the corner cutting method that I showed you. So just match up the other side exactly the same, cut the corners off, scissor over comb. And then, because I got it quite right in the first place with my initial length, all I'm looking to do with the fringe here is just take the very ends off. So I'm pulling it down to the eyebrows. I've got my middle finger on the bridge of the nose there, and I've got a really good length. Don't cut it too short here. I wouldn't cut hair. I don't like cutting hair higher than the eyebrows unless it's a short haircut. It keeps you with a little bit of movement. So I'm going to dry it back with a big flat brush. This is a big flat brush. It's good for smoothing the hair out if you have something that's big, flat, and I've got the wide nozzle on the hairdryer. Once I'm finished, a little bit of dusting. I call this dusting. I just go over with the scissor and the comb, and I'm just looking to take dust off. If you're taking chunks off there, you're doing it wrong. So I'll tidy my client up. Let me know what you think about this haircut. I think it's a really popular, highly commercial haircut. Hundreds, thousands of men, millions of men have a haircut like this. It's good for the office. It's good for work. It looks quite classy. Let me know what you think. Do you think you could accomplish this? Finally, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in my next video.